Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is November 20th, 2023, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights today, we're watching the US dollar slide versus the major pairs. However, looking at today's economic events, nothing scheduled. So starting out with the Forex symbols, specifically it's the euro and the Japanese yen that is gaining versus the dollar. And as we look at the indices, both the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ remaining unchanged and really stalling at these levels. Now, when we look at commodities, gold and oil also remaining unchanged over the weekend. And looking at the stocks, we're watching the bank stocks actually rally while tech takes a break. Now, lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin bouncing back as we're challenging that upper limit. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. First with the Euro USD. Now this looked like it was going to peter out, especially as it hit that 107 level and couldn't really break out. But then it just gets this massive explosion on the upside. Now we are trading at 109.17. That's almost a full comeback to our 112-ish level. Now it's not almost, it's 50%. With all due respect, and I do correct my language. Now we are hitting a major threshold. Now remember, this was a major resistance level. When we did bounce off of that level, we used it as a resistance level when we were on our downwards trend. I mean, I don't know if you could highlight that. Unfortunately, this doesn't have my pencil that I could draw on the screen any longer, so I'm a little bit limited here. But right there, this is what I'm talking about, that we had that big bounce and used it as a resistance. Now, two things to make note of. Number one, when we crossed over the 8-day over the 30-day moving average, that was an entry point. That was showing that it was getting stronger. Now we're right there with the 8-day with the 200-day moving average, and it looks like it's going to break higher. Okay, so this combination of looking at support, resistance, and crossovers on the moving averages are there as indicators for you in order to take advantage of, okay? And this is really happening in real time. Now, jumping to the Japanese yen. This is another one that is showing some tremendous strength here. Also, breaking over that 200-day moving average, not on a daily, but I would keep it up on a daily to say if that 8-day moving average breaks that 30-day moving average, that's a solidified retrending, and I would expect it to sell off further. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is an anticipation that the U.S. markets are going to continue going higher somehow. Okay, NVIDIA is coming out with their quarterly earning reports this week. It's a short week because we'll have Thanksgiving on Thursday. U.S. markets are closed, so keep that in mind. Now, jumping into commodities, gold and oil really unchanged here. 1980, just taking a little bit of a break. And if we look at crude oil, after that sell-off for crude and that rally for gold, it's just taking a break and consolidating at this area. Now, looking at the U.S. markets, also really unchanged, okay? Over the last 3 days, look at that. 1, 2, 3, we've been just in a very consolidating state. Now, the question is whether or not we're going to correct ourselves, okay, on the downside, or we're going to see an extension, okay? And at these levels, it's more likely that we'll make a correction than we'll pull up higher. However, keep this in mind, there are stocks that are pretty strong still in this environment. Intel is very strong, and it is breaking out higher, which is a major bellwether for chip makers, which may key us in with NVIDIA coming out this week, okay? So looking at the individual stock, Microsoft took a little bit of a break. However, let's take a look at those bank stocks. JP Morgan, look at that massive rally to 152 as it's pushing higher. So is Bank of America pushing higher, okay? Let's see if those gains could be extended further this week. If not, it's going to be a correction, okay? And we're right there at the threshold. Now, I wanted to highlight this thing with Intel because I think it's going to be very important for NVIDIA on the upside, okay? And that's breaking. If you look at it on a monthly chart, that's huge. That's a major move on the upside, okay? And we are closing in on a 200-day moving average. But if you look at that, okay, a couple of things here as I'm coming out to the daily, that crossover, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's a huge buy signal, okay? When that crossover actually happens and happens with some gusto, you got the volume, everything is there, boom, right up there. Now, I mean, ultimately, it could be back in that $50 range if that's where it's validated to be. But the question is whether or not. Now, looking at NVIDIA, we're close to our all-time highs, okay? We are trading at a major threshold, okay? We're only about 10 points away from our highs, as this has really made a big comeback. The question is whether or not moving forward, it's going to be able to sustain it. And that's what the market wants to see with these numbers coming out. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, bouncing back as it sold off, but it's still trading in that range. It's just shy of 38,000, excuse me. So it's got to break that threshold in order for it to go even higher towards the end of the year. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.